The case in hand and what appears from the finding recorded by the lower appellate court, shows utter breach in observance of the statutory obligation cast upon the court under section 20 of the Act of 1963, as it stood prior to its amendment. Stop para. In view of what has been said herein above, substantial question of law number 1 is answered in the affirmative, in terms that despite the plaintiff succeeding to prove his case of a breach of contract, specific performance may be refused, but the discretion has not to be exercised arbitrarily, it has to be exercised in accordance with section 20 of the Act of 1963 and other relevant factors reputed under the law. Stop. Substantial question of law number 2 is answered in the negative, holding that the court cannot refuse the relief of a specific performance of contract without assigning good and cogent reasons. Therefore, stop. Substantial question of law number 3 is also answered in the negative in terms that the alternate relief of refund of earnest, along with interest in a suit for a specific performance, cannot be opted by the court without assigning good and cogent reasons. Stop para. In the circumstances, there is no alternative but to allow the appeal in part and set aside the impugned judgment and decree passed by the lower appellate court to the extent that it refuses specific performance. Stop. The relevant namesake of a finding would also be treated to be nullified. Stop. The other findings recorded by the lower appellate court regarding establishment of the plaintiff's case about the validity of the suit agreement, the readiness and willingness and the suit not being barred under section 20 of the UP Land Development and Mortgage Act, are all affirmed. Stop. These shall not be reopened. Stop. It must also be remarked that there is no cross appeal preferred by the defendants, questioning the decree for refund with interest or the findings on which it is based. Stop. There is, therefore, no occasion for this court to upset those findings. Stop. It is clarified that this court has not expressed opinion, either way, about the way the lower appellate court, after considering evidence and hearing parties, may exercise its discretion to grant a specific performance or opt for the alternative relief. Stop. The lower appellate court shall be free to exercise that discretion in accordance with law and after considering the evidence on record. Stop para. In the result, this appeal succeeds and is allowed in part. Stop. The impugned decree passed by the lower appellate court shall stand set aside to the extent alone that it directs refund with interest, instead of a specific performance. Stop. The appeal shall stand restored to the file of the lower appellate court for determination of the question about the grant of relief of a specific performance afresh, after hearing parties and bearing in mind the guidance in this judgment. Stop. Cause easy. Stop para. Let the lower court's records be sent down to the lower appellate court at once. Stop. Both parties shall appear before the lower appellate court on 6th September, 2021 staff para. Let this order be communicated to the district judge, Kausambi by the registrar under bracket compliance staff.